Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and News Channel 5.
Good morning, everyone. Good to have you with us on the broadcast today. PNC Fairfax Connection offers a variety of financial education programs for children as well as for adults. Its Executive Director, Maria Thompson, will tell us more about these programs. Later on today, Leona Grigsby and Michael Sierra will tell us about the programs at the Cleveland Hearing and Speech Center. And later in the broadcast after that, Renee Jones and Carla Lovejoy of the Renee Jones Empowerment Center will talk about their efforts to help victims of sex trafficking. Good morning, everyone. I'm Leon Bibb. This is Kaleidoscope, and so we begin, beginning with Maria Thompson, Executive Director for PNC Fairfax Connection and a Vice President at the bank, PNC. Hey, Maria, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm doing fine, I'm doing fine. Tell me, well, what is the PNC Fairfax Connection?
The PNC Fairfax Connection is a community resource that's located at 83rd and Carnegie, so it's in the heart of what we call the Fairfax neighborhood in Cleveland, and it's designed to help people achieve their goals, whether it's in relationship to gaining more information about knowledge, preserving the arts and heritage of the Fairfax neighborhood, or as our topic today is on the topic of financial education, achieving their financial education goals.
And you are really talking about how to earn money, hold on to money, invest money, all those kinds of things. And you're really kind of gearing it toward the younger set, toward children too.
Yeah.
Is that because so many kids don't know how to hold on to a quarter or a dollar or whatever it is?
Well, certainly that's the case too, but also we're seeing from research that parents feel that they lack the ability to teach their children about financial education because the resources and the tools just aren't available. At the same time, we see researchers and educators feeling the need for this too in the early childhood education space. So what we've done is we've developed new programs and partnerships in the community to help parents, caregivers, as well as our child care facilities teach children about saving.
You brought something along with you that we're going to chat a little bit about. This is obviously aimed at children. One of the Sesame Street characters, Elmo. Oh, that's Elmo. My good friend Elmo is on the cover here. And so this is really geared toward teaching children about financial responsibilities. What do you try to tell them, and how do you tell them, and how do you work with the parents?
Well, we tell them that, first of all, parents can integrate financial education concepts into their everyday life and work and family and school with children. And so basically we are sharing information via this booklet on sharing, spending, and saving. And I won't give you all of the details of the book. This book kit can be found at any one of our branches, or it can be downloaded online.
So we can go to a PNC branch and we can get the little booklet here.
You can get that kit, yes, as we refer to.
English and Spanish.
Written in both English and Spanish. And some of the key concepts that we help parents to appreciate or to equip caregivers is how to help children make choices, how to help them to share when it comes to money, and how to help them to make wise choices when it comes to spending. For instance, there's a lot of choices when we go to buy an item, whether it's a new pair of tennis shoes or something else, a toy. So things can cost different amounts of money for the same item or product. So one of the things we encourage parents or caregivers to do, the next time they're in a store, take two of the same item, and show that to their children, and show the different price tags, how one costs more, one costs less, and ask the children what choice they would make and what the difference between the cost of those two items are and what they could do with the difference.
I remember when my children were very, very young, I told them we could not afford to have something, and they say, why don't you just write a check for it then if you don't have the money? So we had to sit down and have a conversation about what that check represented. That represented money that we have in the bank, not money that we want to have in the bank.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. So when you talk to the kids now, where are you going to? Where can they get these tips other than through the bank now? Is there some one-on-one schooling that goes on? And the parents?
Well, absolutely. We make this available. Well, this started last fall with a special partnership that we developed with our Cuyahoga and Cleveland Public Libraries, as well as 30 child care providers in the greater Cleveland area. And so they can get the information by contacting either one of the 56 library branches branches to see when the next program will be made available, or by going to a local PNC branch, or by downloading the information online for the one-on-one via the parent, or it can be done via one of the classroom settings.
Well, they can go to your website, get more information on everything we're talking about. PNCgrowupgreat.com is the website. You can get more information on everything we are talking about by going to PNCgrowupgreat.com. You see the website at the bottom of the screen there. There's another thing I wanted to ask you about, and that is the concept of sharing.
Yeah.
Sharing. Sometimes kids don't pick that one up real quick.
No, and it's really easy to do. It can be as easy as having a conversation with your child before a playmate comes over to say that, you know, if you share your toys with your friend, you're going to make them feel really very happy. And that's a good thing, to make someone else happy. Or it could even be telling your child that by sharing, they're going to learn how to come by other things later in life, and that will help them as they develop. And then as they grow older, they can learn to share in the family by donating their time and resources to a different community facility.
You and I were chatting before we started, before we sat down here on the Kaleidoscope television set. You and I were chatting about my old story that I tell everybody. When I was 11 years old, and my father told me go get a job. I went and got a job. I made $1 cutting someone's lawn, and I bought something. And Dad said, "Now you need to save 25 cents out of that dollar." And it was the last time that I was broke. Was at the age of 11 years old. You are teaching these same concepts that my father was teaching me 15 years ago when I was 11 years old.
And we do that by what we call learning to wait. That's a very important concept. Some adults call it delayed gratification, but it's very important because learning to wait helps us as we grow older when we want to purchase a car or a home or save for education. So when children learn that concept of learning to wait, then it's really helping them to become financially responsible adults.
And this is what you're teaching at the PNC Fairfax Connection. That's all part of the big program there, telling people how to save money, and telling the children especially, and helping their parents teach the children as well. You can go to pncgrowupgreat.com, and you can get more information on everything that Maria Thompson and I have been talking about. Maria Thompson, Executive Director for PNC Fairfax Connection and a Vice President with the PNC Bank. Good to see you, Maria.
Good to see you too.
Always good. You've put money in our pockets, and it's going to stay there for a while too, because we're going to save. That's the concept. Thank you, Maria.
You're welcome.
I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back after this. We're going to talk about some wonderful things that are going on in the community with the Cleveland Hearing and Speech Center after this. Good to have you with us again on Kaleidoscope. I'm going to be talking this segment with Leona Grigsby. She's a sign language interpreter with the Cleveland Hearing and Speech Center. As well, we'll be talking to Michael Sierro. He's a sign language interpreter at the Cleveland Hearing and Speech Center as well. They're going to talk about many programs offered at the Cleveland Hearing and Speech Center in Cleveland and the need for sign language interpreters. Good to have you both with us. Leona, let's begin with you. Talk a little bit about the programs, overall programs of the Cleveland Hearing and Speech Center.
Well, the overall programs, we have speech therapy, we have audiology department, and the CCD, which is Community Center for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing.
And Michael, share with us a little bit of your thoughts about what's called the deaf culture in Northeast Ohio.
The deaf culture in Northeast Ohio basically is, since deaf people, their natural language is to use American Sign Language. It's very common for deaf people to kind of group with people that know their language, that know their background, that have gone to similar schools and have similar experiences in life. So the deaf culture is really kind of a subset of just the cultures that you see, the many cultures that we have here in Northeast Ohio.
There's a shortage of people who do what you do, a sign language interpretation, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You are always looking for more people to learn what you do.
We are, because I think that most of the time people aren't aware that sign language interpretation is a profession that you can get into, and that there are agencies in major cities and throughout the country where you can work as an interpreter and be fully employed every day and go out in the community and work with people.
Do you ever get called upon in courtrooms or police stations to help get information if somebody is deaf?
To facilitate communication, yes, we do. We're called to the courts, we're called to police stations, we do medical, we do anything that there's a need for, we do it all.
And all of this goes through the Cleveland Hearing and
Yes,
Speech
through the
Center.
Cleveland Hearing and Speech Center.
Yeah. You've been with the president a couple of times. You and I were chatting about this.
Yes.
Yeah. How was that signing for President Obama, or which president was it?
It was President Obama, and it was very interesting signing for him. There were some pictures that were taken, and the signs that I was doing matched pretty much what his motions were. So it was very interesting signing for him.
Yeah. Michael, what do you have to keep in mind? Now, of course, you want to say whatever somebody else is saying, or ask the question through sign language. And I'm going to ask you to give us a demonstration of that. What do you have to keep in mind when you're doing that?
One of the things I think most people, a misconception with American Sign Language, is that sign language is concept for concept. It isn't word for word. So when we're signing something for somebody, for example, in December, when I see this, I think Merry Christmas, because this is a sign for merry or joyful or gleeous or happy. So in January, when I see this, it's happy birthday. I know as an interpreter, I'm not a translator, I'm not doing word for word. I know the context of the sign and when it was made, and I know that's how I voice it and that's how I interpret it.
You could sign when she speaks. You could sign. Could we try this? I know we hadn't set this up. Can you sign when I ask her a question and she gives her an answer? And we'll put a camera on you. And tell me, how did you get involved in all of this?
Very interesting. My mother was deaf, so I knew sign language, but I never knew that it was a profession. Never thought that I would be in this profession, and here I am as a sign language interpreter.
So Michael, as you do this, I noticed there were facial expressions that you were giving as well. What do those say?
Absolutely. When we talk to somebody, we use the tone of our voice to inflect meaning. So, for example, if I were to say to a child, "Did you do your homework? Did you do your homework? Did you do your homework?" All of that has different meaning. One, I knew the answer. It was rhetorical. I know if the child did their homework. One, I was either threatening or admonishing a child. And one was just genuinely, I was inquisitive. So by our facial expression, that's how we inflect meaning with our signs.
Oh, very interesting. Let me ask you, Leona Grigsby, you're a sign language interpreter with the Cleveland Hearing and Speech Center. Tell me about the Key Bank mentoring program. What does it do?
Actually, I'm going to give that to Michael, because Michael is involved in the mentoring program.
We'll hand it back to Michael.
Yeah, the mentoring program, KeyBank has given us a very generous grant to work with local colleges where there are interpreting training programs where students are going through to get their degree to actually become professional interpreters. And it gives us the opportunity to work with students to give them more real-world experience based off of our combined years of experience out there interpreting, more than just book knowledge. We can let them know things like politics that actually happen in courts, or what you have to do, what departments are there in hospitals, where you have to go. So much more than just the words, because interpreting is far more than just the words.
Got about a minute remaining. Talk about the technologies, new technologies we're seeing.
The new technologies have really improved lives for many of the deaf community. They really like the video phone, which is you sign, they can sign, they don't have to type words, and they really like that better than just typing words.
So they can use the telephone, the video phone, and sign back and forth.
Yes, they can.
It's just wonderful, wonderful technology. All of this, you can find more information on all of this at the Cleveland Hearing and Speech Center. And I know you would suggest that people consider this as an occupation, as a profession to go into this. And you can go to Tri-C or Kent State or places like that and take sign language interpretation. Very, very interesting. By the way, I'm going to put a phone number on the screen, 231-8787 in the 216 area code, or you can go to clevelandhearingandspeech.org, clevelandhearingandspeech.org for more information on everything we've been talking about.
Yes.
How would you say, we're going to take a break right now? Back in a moment, right after this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Put us on the spot. Okay, that's it.
Good Good to have you with us on Kaleidoscope today. I'm Leon Bibb, always here, and good to have you with us as well. Well, the Renee Jones Empowerment Center offers a variety of programs to enrich the lives of local families. Its founder and CEO, Renee Jones, is here, who's sitting right next to me, along with Carla Jones, who is a coordinator for the pilot program for Emancipated Youth, as it is called. And they're going to talk about the center and the programs geared to helping victims of sex trafficking. Good to have you with us, Renee Jones.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and Carla Lovejoy as well. What's the overall mission of the Renee Jones Empowerment Center?
The overall mission of our center is to empower those in need who are in desperate situations, which could range from homelessness to teenage pregnancies to drug addiction to poverty, where our community center is there to address the needs of the community, and we design our programs around those needs.
Where are you headquartered, and how wide an area do you serve?
Okay. We're located on the west side of Cleveland, on West 65th in the Detroit Shoreway area, and we service the greater Cleveland area and suburbs.
Yeah. Throughout the whole area.
Throughout the whole area,
Yes. A lot of it. And Carla Jones is with you, and Carla, you are a program coordinator for the Renee Jones Empowerment Center.
Right.
What program are you coordinating?
It's the fourth phase of the Project Red Cord, and it works with youth who have aged out of the foster care system. We found that once students or youth have become 18 years old and have aged out, that they lack the skills that they need to succeed in society. They might need help in career building, finding housing, finding a job, resume writing and things like that.
They have been under county care for all these years,
Exactly.
and all of a sudden at 18,
right.
The law says you're an adult and
Exactly.
you're on your own,
Exactly.
and you know that they're not really on their own.
Right.
They need a lot of help.
Exactly.
Tell me some of the things that you have to help them with.
Well, we want to help them create what's called a playbook, like a football team, to help them map out a life plan where they can, see where they need to do from here to, say, a year out to help them be successful and get into society.
Also, and Renee, we've got you here as well talking about the victims of sex trafficking.
Yes.
How big a problem is this?
It's a big problem. The Attorney General did a study in 2010 that basically let us know that there are at least over 1,000 youth trafficked in Ohio every year. And those are pretty much, that was 2010. Part of our program, we do street outreach and strip club outreach. So we can tell you firsthand that we see this activity on the streets during our outreach efforts. And it's very important that we make the community aware of human trafficking, the signs, the prevention, what they need to look for, and how to protect themselves. And we really need to empower the youth in the community to know that this exists so that they don't become victims. And that's why this pilot program that we're doing, that Carla is going to head up, is to help those youth that are coming out of the foster care system, because they come out at 18, if they don't have anywhere to go, more than likely they can end up on the streets and become victims.
How can the public help you in this regard, Carla Lovejoy, to help these folks?
Okay, there's a symposium coming up in August, which is a big awareness piece, and I'll let Renee speak more on that piece.
What about
we're going to have a human trafficking symposium, which is going to be held on August 10th at Notre Dame College in South Euclid. And we're going to cover a lot of information on human trafficking. This symposium is set up for all professionals, community leaders, nurses, doctors. We're going to have some of the topics we're going to talk about. We're going to have an original drama where we have a performing arts team, and they're going to give a little demonstration about how someone can become a victim of human trafficking.
How can people get online or get in line for this symposium? It's August the 10th?
August the 10th.
At Notre Dame College.
At Notre Dame College. You can register at eventbrite.com. Just type in Renee Jones Empowerment Center.
In Events Bright?
Yes.
Kaleidocoscope.com.
And then you can register right online for the conference.
Okay. You are involved in this. You are really trying to save the lives of so many people who fall off the radar screen, so to speak.
Exactly.
So that's why your continued involvement with the Renee Jones Empowerment Center.
It's very important, right.
Let me put a phone number on the screen. We're running out of time, and I want to get this phone number on the screen, if not already done so. It is 216-651-9601. 651-9601 in the 216 area code. You see it at the bottom of the screen. Or you can go to RJE. Help me out here.
RJEC.
Empower.org. RJEC, Renee Jones Empowerment Center. .org.
Yes.
RJECempower.org.
Yes.
I've got it. It's at the bottom of the screen. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
And thank you so much for bailing me out. I was getting tongue-tied. But thank you for the work that you do. We've talked about this over the last few months, these kinds of things, and we've got to get a handle on all of this. Thank you so much. Renee Jones, founder and CEO of the Renee Jones Empowerment Center. Carla Lovejoy, who is a program coordinator for the Renee Jones Empowerment Center. Be well, my friends, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Taking a break. I'll be right back. Marsha Maccabee with words of wisdom from the Urban League after this. Here's Marsha Maccabee, President and CEO of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, always with words of wisdom and a commentary today. Hey, Marsha.
Hey, Leon. How you doing today?
I'm hanging in, Marsha.
All right. Good to see you. Hang on. Okay. Listen, I was just inspired today as our broadcast went forward, and it's good as it always is, and learned a great deal about the signing situation. That was wonderful information to learn. But, you know, the segment on the human trafficking just really struck me on a very personal note because, as you know, we work with a number of high school youth. And one of the things that I see is the low self-esteem and the failure to connect and communicate with others. And I was just struck as I was listening to Renee Jones and talking about the whole issue, and I've read on this topic for a while. And I'll tell you, I just want to encourage our listening audience that as parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, siblings, that we really need to pay attention to our children. Because if we don't pay attention to our children and reinforce the love and reinforce their worth, there are others out there waiting to pray who will.
There's something about the humans. We all want to be loved.
Absolutely.
And we will find love wherever we can find it, or what goes for love. So parents have got to love the children, and fathers and mothers got to love the kids, and the kids got to love the parents for that to grow into a great maturity. Otherwise, they find something phony on the street.
Absolutely.
That is not love.
Absolutely. And you know, we talk a lot about the importance of fathers being in the home, and particularly for boys, but it's also important for girls.
How right you are. Marsha Maccabee, always with words of wisdom, and we appreciate your words of wisdom today.
Thank you, Leon.
Well said, my friend. That's going to do it. Be well.
Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and News Channel 5.